I was 12, and my family had moved to the house where my mother had grown up. Across from our house was an old church, and through one of the side windows I saw a clown. Now, when I say clown, I don't mean some weird dude dressed up hiding out somewhere waiting to scare any passerby. No, it was one of those animatronic ones people put out around Halloween. I couldn't make out any of its features being far from my window, but from where I was standing, I could tell it was fake. My mom saw what I was looking at as we both stood next to the car parked in our driveway. You know, when I was a little girl, that was the church I went to with Grandma and Grandpa. She said, "Why is that clown in there?" Who knows, probably just forgot it there after Halloween. When I got home from school the next day, I was alone at the time. Mom wasn't back from work yet. I was about to let myself in when I looked back over at the church. The clown was still there, but it wasn't where it had been the day before. It was standing in front of the middle window. Now it had moved. I walked across the street and got a better look at the clown. It was about average height with a rainbow-styled suit alternating red and white stripes that shined like silk in the daylight. It wore a white bow around its neck with 3 large red pom-poms in front, with massive red ruby shoes covering its feet. Its face and hands were gray and looked like they had been fashioned out of modeling clay, with bumps and wrinkles all over. Its scraggly red hair exploded out of the back of its head, except where it was bald on the top, and it had a piercing stare to its jaundiced yellow eyes, like it looked right into my soul. It stared and smiled with its mouth full of square teeth. It wore a cardboard sign on its chest with words that looked like they had been written in red marker. The words said, "Hug me." A single thought went through my mind at that moment. Why the hell would anybody leave this in a church the next day while I was waiting for the bus to pick me up? I stole a glance over at the church. The clown had moved again this time. It was in the window closest to the church's front door. The next few days passed without any extra excitement. School went by quick. It wasn't until Friday after school that I noticed something was different. Again, I had gotten off the bus when I did what now had become routine for me. I looked over at the church and saw the clown still in the same window, but even from the edge of my driveway, I could tell something had changed. I cautiously walked over, and as I got closer, the differences stood out even more. It looked a foot taller. Maybe more so, its once normal legs now looked like long stilts. Its arms and fingers looked like they'd grown, with its wrist and knuckles bent at odd angles. Now pointed at the window, but its face was the worst part. Its eyes looked wider and its teeth looked more Nif-likey, and pronounced. My subconscious brain was picking up all of it. It looked meaner. A shiver ran down my spine as I turned with haste to make my way back home, never looking back. Once I decided to stay up that night and watch the church, watch the clown. I wanted to see if it was moved by someone. I had to catch that person in the ACT. I faked going to bed and sat down quietly by my window. Even in the dim lighting of the night, I could still make out the shape of the clown. I don't know what time I had fallen asleep, nor did I remember laying down on the floor up against my bedroom wall. I woke up slowly with my head in a semi-daze, and I instinctively peered out the window. It took me a few moments to focus, but then I saw something that immediately sent me into panic mode. The front door of the church was open, and the clown was nowhere to be seen. I went to get up, and I heard a noise that sounded like stairs creaking. The steps that lead to our upstairs did creak, albeit not enough to wake someone up if they knew where to step. My first thought was, maybe my mom had stayed late and was finally making her way up. I hadn't checked the actual time yet. Then I heard it again and again. Someone was coming up the stairs. Not Mom, not Dad. Then who was it? Suddenly the footsteps stopped. I sat. A few silent seconds passed. What is he doing soon? I could make out another distinct sound. The doorknob to my room was being turned. I sat there on the floor, my gaze now focused and eyes better adapted to the darkness. I could clearly see the knob being turned and my bedroom door being inched open. My heart skipped a beat. Someone's trying to get inside my room, I screamed. Who's there? Whoever was on the other side of the door stopped, pin dropped. Silence. I turned my head towards the church. I must have fainted when I woke up. My mom was on my side. She asked me if I had a bad dream last night. I didn't tell her anything because who would believe me after that night? I never saw the clown again. The creepy animatronic was also gone the next morning. No one knows who moved it, but something at the back of my head keeps telling me that animatronic had become alive. Beware of finding it hanging outside your window tonight.